he was charged yesterday, as I think we all know, with second-degree murder, and today there will be more.
Betsy, it's interesting. We see a national reaction to this story. A lot of people are talking about race. What is the feeling down there? I realize you're in Atlanta, but what's the fallout in this Florida community in this town of Sanford about this dramatic reversal in what's happening?
Well, the reaction would have been much stronger, of course, if there were no charges. Generally, people are feeling, or seem to be feeling, that that this was the right thing to do, but they want to wait and see what happens. What happens with the trial. So there was a possibility. I mean, Sanford police were preparing for any eventuality, but still kind of a wait and see situation.
Betsy, I understand George Zimmerman surrendered himself to police. Is this a precursor to him asking for bail and to be let free pending the trial?
Well, his new lawyer, he's had a change in lawyers now. His new lawyer indicated last night that, of course, he would rather see him out than in, partly for his own reasons, to work on the defense. So we'll see what happens. But yes, he did turn himself in yesterday. He had been kind of, no one knew where he was for a while. So there was a real question as to where he was and what he was going to do. Except for communicating on a website, nobody really knew what was going on. So he did turn himself in. We'll see what happens today.
We will see what happens today. And let's now hear from Florida State Prosecutor Angela Carey, right now.
Let me emphasize that we do not prosecute by public pressure or by petition. We prosecute based on the facts of any given case, as well as the laws of the state of Florida.
Okay, and that's Florida State Prosecutor Angela Carey. They're making a statement on stuff, and we've got Joe Palazzolo here to tell us about the legal issues of this case. How difficult will it be to find a jury that is unbiased? There's been a lot of media hoopla about this. I mean, I doubt there's a person out there who hasn't heard about the case in some way.
Yeah, well, the special prosecutor, Angela Carey, I mean, that's exactly what she said. She's very concerned about trying to find an impartial jury. I mean, this is spread everywhere. It's not just Florida, it's not just here. I mean, it's everywhere. So it's going to be difficult, but we've seen a lot of high-profile trials, and they've been able to pick juries. So is it going to take a while? If it gets to that point, yeah, but they'll be able to in the end.
Joe, to me, this case represents... this, of course, it's about the shooting between George Zimmerman and the death of Trayvon Martin. But to me, this seems to be a case that's going to be a referendum on this stand your ground law and about how these laws are viewed around the country. I mean, when it comes down to it, are they going to be arguing the details of this case? I suppose they are. But how much of the arguments do you think will actually come down to the intent of this law and civil rights and the right of a person to be walking through a neighborhood and the right of a person to be having a gun?
Yeah, this will easily be the highest profile challenge to this law, the stand your ground law. And obviously, there are other states that have it. There's about 30 in all that have some form of it. But so what's going to happen, or what may happen, what is likely to happen, is that George Zimmerman, through his attorney, there will be a pretrial hearing where they're going to make a motion for self-defense, right? So they're going to see whether or not his claims of self-defense jibe with the stand your ground law, right? And the stand your ground law says that if you're threatened, or if you feel threatened, you feel your life is in danger, you don't have a duty to retreat. You can use lethal force. So he'll make this claim, and a judge will decide. This is before it goes to a jury. A judge will decide whether or not it's a viable defense, and if it's not, then it goes to a jury. If it is,
could the judge actually throw the case out at that point and say this was self-defense?
Right. Yeah. It's happened recently in another case in Florida.
Stay with us. Want to get Betsy McKay back from Atlanta now. Betsy, there were some impassioned pleas last night from Trayvon Martin's parents. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, they're pleading basically for justice to be served and for everyone to wait for the outcome of this. I mean, as we've just been talking about, there are a lot of passions around this.
Okay, and so I guess we're hearing some of the sound there from that. So is that going to make a difference to the case, do you think, or is this just what we're hearing from the parents now, and what would normally be expected when someone loses a loved one?
I think it's going to have to be. I mean, the legal world now has its job. I mean, it's going to have to be. The facts of the case are going to have to be evaluated as facts on their own, and that's going to be a really difficult thing to do because, as we've all just been talking about, so much has been publicized about this case. That's going to make it really, really difficult in terms of picking a jury and really just looking at the facts themselves.
Okay, thank you very much. Betsy McKay with the Wall Street Journal down in Atlanta. And Joe, back to you. This is a second-degree murder charge. That's
right.
What George Zimmerman is going to be charged with.
Right.
Why is it that, and how does that get into the sort of the issue of intent?
Sure. Well, first of all, the easy answer is we don't know why it's second-degree murder. We don't have all the facts right now. But second-degree murder, as opposed to first-degree murder, does not require premeditation. Right, so the standard is it's a death caused by a depraved act without regard for life. And why is it not manslaughter? We're not sure on that either. I think a lot of people were surprised because earlier in the week the prosecutor had said we're not going to use a grand jury, so that foreclosed the possibility of a first-degree murder charge. And I think everyone sort of assumed, well, then maybe it's going to go to manslaughter. So it's a pretty high standard. Did she overcharge maybe to get him into a deal? Some people have been speculating that's a possibility, or maybe they have the evidence that we don't know about.